This is the Louie Tee Network.
Who else could it be? Me, your man, Louie Tee. Welcome to Lockdown Coverage, week number 10 in the National Football League. The Jacksonville Jaguars at home taking on the AFC South leading Houston Texans. Texans looking to get to 6-3 on the season and put some considerable distance between them and everybody else in the division. At least they thought. With Green Bay going to Tennessee, Indy on a bye, they thought this was an opportunity to really stake our claim in this division, get our first road win of the season, and start to separate ourselves from the pack in the AFC South. Titans had other ideas as they destroyed the Green Bay Packers in a statement game in Tennessee, but that's of no consequence to the Texans. Take care of yours, and you'll be just fine in this division. But first, you got to take care of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and you got to get on the board on the road. Can't win all your home games, and don't get it done on the road. That probably won't be good enough to get it done in this division this season. Going to have to start winning on the road, and perfect time to start would be at Jacksonville, a team that is struggling on the season coming into the game at 2-6. Before we get into this breakdown, though, as always, welcome to the Louie Tee Network. Of course, I'm your set man, Louie Tee. Thank you for joining me on this program. If you haven't already done so, subscribe to the Louie Tee Network for more great content in 2016 and beyond. Look, we're changing the game over here. I want you to be a part of it. And the easiest way to become a part of what we're doing over here and the movement is to hit that red subscribe button, which will lock you in and will help me change the game here on YouTube, breaking down the National Football League. Also, I'm on Twitter at @InTheLabRoom is the Twitter handle. Go ahead and follow me there. The most easiest and effective and efficient way to keep track of what's going on the Louie Tee Network is Twitter. Turn on your notifications, follow me, and you will be in sync real time as to when I am going live or uploading a video or what may have you. Twitter is the best way. And if you just want to chop it up with your man Louie Tee, talk football, hey, I'm here. And the best way to do that as well, Twitter at @InTheLabRoom is the best way to do that. So go ahead and follow me on Twitter. Also, I'm on Facebook. In the Lab Room is the Facebook page. Again, looking to change the game there as well. Got a lot of work to do on Facebook, not going to lie to you, but I'm really excited about the future on Facebook on this channel. And so I think that's something I'm going to explore before the end of this season. Going to start putting up some exclusive content up there as well as Facebook Live. And so that's something you want to get entrenched in before I actually get started, because once I do, it'll be a lot harder to figure those things out. And you don't want to miss out on an episode or something like that because you're not following me on or liking the page on Facebook. So In the Lab Room is the Facebook page. And go ahead and give me that thumbs up. So all of my social media platforms right up above, scrolling across the top of the screen. So make sure you lock yourself in, like the Facebook page, follow me on Twitter, and most importantly, subscribe to the Louie Tee Network on YouTube. That being said, let's jump into this breakdown of this football game. Jacksonville Jaguars at home, trying to defend their crib against the AFC South leading Houston Texans. Likes, dislikes, banana in the tailpipe is how we're going to break this down. We start with the road team in this instance and their first half likes, and that would be the Houston Texans in this ball game. And we start with Kareem Jackson, first possession of the game, pick six of Blake Bortles. That's exactly how you want to start if you're the Texans. You want to get out to a fast start. Bad Jacksonville Jaguars team. You want to jump on them early and hope to run away with the football game and not even make it close. But it's family business. You know how this goes. If these two teams say they ain't did it, then they ain't did it. But if they did, well, that's family business. And normally family business ends up being a tight affair unless one team is really, really bad and the other team is dominant. That's not what we have in this game. Texans aren't dominant. And yes, the Jacksonville Jaguars are a bad football team, but they're not bad enough, and the Texans aren't dominant enough to run away with this game. There isn't enough of a gap between these two teams to have one lose 38-10 by the other. So you knew, even though that interception, that pick six, bring, house call for Kareem Jackson, and he picked up that phone and got the pick six on Blake B. That wasn't even that bad of a play. It was an outbreaking route. You'd love to see Blake B throw that a little quicker, and if you're going to throw it a little bit more to the outside. But that was a hell of a play by Kareem Jackson. He was sitting and squatting on that outbreaking route, made a hell of an extension to get that football, then to keep his feet inbounds, to cut back, get into the end zone. It was a really nice play. Give credit where credit is deserved. Kareem Jackson made that play happen. 7-0. Jacksonville trailing in this game early as Kareem Jackson takes it to the crib. A big Lamar Miller run. He's been banged up of late, and I didn't really like the way they handled him late in the game, but I thought they did a good job in the mid portions of this game in handling Lamar Miller and his workload. Huge run, though, 45 yards. I'd like to see him score here. This is why they brought him here for the big play. Hasn't had many of them. This was an opportunity to get a big play. I would have loved to have seen him score in this play, but down to the 1 yard line, you'll take it. Your quarterback, Brock Osweiler, able to deliver in that spot, finding Ryan Griffin for a touchdown. So, look, as long as you get in the end zone, don't have to settle for a field goal. I don't care. Big run by Lamar Miller, setting all of that up. 14-7 at that point in the game. And then Whitney Merciless. I thought this was actually an interception. I was charging this to Blake Bortles' account as an interception, but for some reason, they ruled it a fumble. I don't understand why, but okay, whatever. He caught it in the air, hit off of a guy's foot, carried him into the air. I thought it was picked off by Whitney Merciless, but it turns out it was recovered by Whitney Merciless. Whatever. It's a turnover nonetheless for Jacksonville. And a big play by Houston, but they didn't get any points off of it. So a missed field goal by Nick Novak. We'll talk about those a little bit later on. But still, forcing turnovers, that's what the good teams in the league do. Normally, though, the great teams in the league, the teams that have aspirations of making the postseason, they take those turnovers and turn them into points. Texans weren't able to do that in this game as often as you would like. That's an opportunity. You need to find a way to get points off of that, and they did not in this instance. Let's go to the Jacksonville Jaguars first half likes in this game. A great response by Blake B and the Jags offense after the pick six on the opening possession. That could have been detrimental to their success in this game. I mean, literally, Blake Bortles could have ran and hid and had one of those games where you just look at him and say, why is he even starting in this league? I mean, it could have been one of those 3 interception games where he's turning it over and have a fumble in there, take some bad sacks. He could have went into the tank after that pick six on the first possession, but he didn't. Took his team down the field, 13 plays, 75 yards into the end zone, tied the game up at 7 apiece. That's a great response by a quarterback that has been struggling this season. Like to see that mental toughness and intestinal fortitude shown by Blake Bortles in this Jacksonville Jaguars offense. You go to the first half dislikes for both teams. We go back to the Houston Texans. Missed 49-yard and missed 50-yard field goal by Nick Novak. So those are your 2 dislikes in the first half. Nick Novak, who had made 9 straight field goals coming into this game, misses his first 2 attempts on the afternoon. Look, you're playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. You want to put them away? Make your field goals. All those points count. And at the time, you didn't know the game was going to be close at the end. It looked like the Jags were going to lay down and allow the Texans to potentially run away with this one, but they didn't. They made a hard charge at the end, and those missed field goals loomed large, especially if the Texans aren't able to convert on a crucial 3rd down late in the game. All of a sudden now, a field goal ties it, a touchdown wins it because of those 2 misses. 50 and 49 yards aren't chip shot field goals, but they are expected to be made in this league. Nick Novak has to put those home, especially when you create a turnover. I don't care if it's a field goal. You want something to show for that turnover. You need to get those points. Nick Novak wasn't delivering in the first half of this game. And I've already talked to you about Nick Novak. He's one of these guys. He can be a streaky kicker. He can make 9 in a row like he did coming into this game, but he can also miss kicks and be inconsistent. Got to look out for him because, again, that could cost you. You're lucky that it was Jacksonville and not, say, Indy in this game. Maybe it's not a win. If this game was in Indy and not in Jacksonville, or in Tennessee and not in Jacksonville, this could have easily been a loss. Need those points to be put up on the scoreboard. Also, you go to the Jacksonville Jaguars and their first half dislikes. Blake B throws a pick six. We talked about that already on the very first possession. Great play by Kareem Jackson. It wasn't even that bad of a decision nor throw by Blake Bortles. Just got to give credit where credit is due there. Kareem Jackson jumps the route, makes a beautiful play, stays in bounds, and takes it to the crib. It's a really good play on the part of Kareem Jackson. Giving up the 45-yard run, again, this Texans team is struggling on offense. They struggle to score points. Don't give up big plays. Don't help them with foolish penalties. Don't help them with mistakes and turnovers. Don't help them with big plays. Make them earn it. Did you see Brock Osweiler's stat line in this game? Did you see his stat line? He did not throw for 100 yards in this game. He's not even in preschool. Those are infant numbers, okay? Those are infant numbers. You got to burp him. You got to feed him. You got to lay him down. You got to watch him, make sure he's breathing correctly. He can't keep his head up. He needs your help. That was the ultimate babysitting job. 14 of 27, 99 yards. Don't allow them to rip off a 45-yard run down to the 1-yard line that results in a touchdown. Don't do that. They're struggling over there. Brock Osweiler is funky over there. Don't help him. That's a big play in the game because they got a touchdown out of that possession. Don't give up the big play. But you did. Blake B throwing what I thought was his second interception turned out to be a fumble. Either way, it's a turnover and a costly one. You were driving the football. You were in Texans territory. And voila, just like that, that possession's over and the Texans take over with that fumble. So just take care of the football. You're not good enough to have these types of mistakes. Take care of the football. And then I'm really starting to become perturbed with Dante Fowler Jr. I'm starting to believe he's not a smart human being. Right now, I can tell you this. He's got very low football IQ. I can tell you that right now. I'm starting to question his actual intellect. I don't know if I can make that direct correlation. We'll just stick with football IQ for now. It's not very high, okay? It's in the gutter. It's a dumb play here. All right, so Blake Bortles is scrambling right before the half, and he's out of bounds. And Dante Fowler Jr., caveman status, caveman style. I ran all the way over here, 15 yards. Well, I got to hit him since I ran all the way over here. Doesn't matter that he's 2 steps out of bounds, and he hits him. Dum-dum. The official is standing right there. It's almost halftime. There's 17 seconds left on the clock. Don't give them 15 yards. That's a sixth of the field. You're going to put them in field goal range, genius. Ignoramus. Good job. So, luckily enough for him, Nick Novak missed the kick. Or actually, the Texans couldn't get any more yards. And for some inexplicable reason, they don't try a Hail Mary. They just try some dumb, deep pass out of bounds. Again, sometimes I don't understand what the hell this coaching staff is doing. Like, let alone Brock Osweiler. This coaching staff is clueless, and we'll get to that a little bit later on. They got some work to do, man. They are absolutely clueless in Houston as to what the hell is going on and what to do in certain situations. 4th and 10. You think you're too far. Your field goal kicker's already missed 2 kicks. Okay, you don't want to kick a 56, 57-yard field. I get it. I understand. 4th and 10 from about the Jaguars. Let's call it the 41, 39, something in there. Okay, let everybody run in the end zone and then have Blake throw it up and see if you can catch a Hail Mary in the end zone. Why are you throwing a 22-yard deep ball 3 yards out of bounds? Even if your guy catches it, it's the end of the half. Where's the psychological sense in that? You need to wash your face if you think that's a good idea. Man, the Texans are inept. As an entire staff, they're inept. But I digress. Let's get back to some likes. And we'll go to the second half now, and we'll go back to the Houston Texans in this game. Tyler Ervin's punt return, I think they were lifeless in the second half. The score had been 14-10 for the absolute longest time in this ball game. And then Tyler Ervin, this is what I expected from him out of San Jose State. I've been waiting for him to make a play like this. I also would like to see him touch it on offense a little bit more because he's so dynamic, but it just hasn't worked out for him this season. But maybe this punt return will kickstart and jumpstart his rookie season, and maybe he'll be able to do some things in the second half of this season for the Texans. Huge punt return, and that got the Texans in business, deep in Jags territory. They would go on to score a touchdown to extend the lead out to 21-10. At this point, you're thinking, okay, they got him now. They got him. This game is most likely over, and it looked like it for quite some time there. Akeem Hunt is the next list. Like on my list. Woo! Where'd this guy come from? The practice squad? He played extremely well. He was filling that Tyler Ervin role, the role that I thought Tyler Ervin would fill for this Houston Texans football team. He came in, he was dynamic, he was explosive, Good change of direction, making guys miss out in space, caught the football well. Some explosive plays were made by Akeem Hunt. I want to see more. I thought he played well enough to earn himself some more touches. No more practice squad for this kid. He deserves to be on this roster now, and I want to see more from Akeem Hunt. 3rd down and 8 throw to D-Hop to ice the game. For all that we talk about with Brock Osweiler, as much as I kill him, I just said he had infant numbers, toddler numbers even in this game. More like infant numbers. They weren't toddlers. He's not moving around. This is what it is. But for as bad as he babysat the offense in this game, that throw was as critical to the success of the Texans in this game as any play in this football game. They had to have that because if they punt deep in their own territory there, Jags are going to get the football with not only a chance to tie this game, but a chance to win this game late. This would have been an epic collapse. The proportions and the likes of which could have changed the fortunes of this Texan season for the remainder of the year. They may not have rebounded from this loss. Instead, crucial 3rd down slant to D-Hop on 3rd and 8 and hits him for about 12, 15 yards, somewhere in there. Game winner, basically allows you to put this game on ice and get out of Jacksonville with a 24-21 victory. Huge completion there on 3rd down. And the second half likes for the Jaguars is only one. It's a like. And it's the fight. Down 11 late in the ball game. They could have packed it in. They could have said, okay, they got us. But they didn't. They forced the issue, drew a pass interference flag that changed the game, got in the end zone on an AR-15 touchdown grab, a tough one in the end zone, get the 2-point conversion to cut it to 3. And all of a sudden now you got yourself a ball game, folks. And so they were one stop away from potentially making this thing interesting in Jacksonville. So good fight down the stretch. They could have quit. They didn't. You go to the second half dislikes for both teams. And we start with the Texans. Kareem Jackson's pass interference penalty. I thought he injected life into a lifeless Jacksonville Jaguars team. Without that pass interference penalty, there's no touchdown. There's no close ball game. The game is done. That PI gave them the little boost that they needed to try and fight, to make this a more competitive football game down the stretch. That led to that AR-15 touchdown and the subsequent 2-point conversion that cut it to 3. So that's a huge pass interference penalty that put the football deep into Texans territory that allowed the Jaguars to then get into the end zone. And then I talked about the ineptitude of this Texans organization and this coaching staff. They're just clueless. Okay, so you get the 1st down with D-Hop. You run a play. The Jags have 1 timeout remaining. They call their final timeout with 1 minute and 10 seconds left. They have no more timeouts. It's 2nd down. Why are you running the football? The game is over. They can't stop the clock. That's victory formation time. You take a knee, 40 seconds are going to run off because 2 knees are 1 minute and 20 seconds. Everybody knows that. So if it's 1 minute and 10 seconds left, you can take your damn headsets off, you can take your little clip off, hand it to the assistant, and this game is over. It's victory formation. Instead, you turn around and run the risk of getting a holding penalty, which will then stop the clock and give the Jaguars an opportunity to get the football back. Are you stupid or just dumb? Victory formation, the game is over. And let alone, Lamar Miller is banged up and you got him running into a brick wall 2 more times unnecessarily. Again, if you think that was a smart idea to run it on 2nd down and then turn around when you obviously can see that 1 more play is going to end the game to run it again on 3rd and 9, you need to wash your face. Where's the psychological sense in that, man? Get your mind right. Dum-dum. Whew. Texans can get my blood boiling, boy. They are clueless out there, I swear. Bill O'Brien and his staff are clueless. Anyway, I'm nitpicking because it didn't have an impact on the game. It could have if they would have picked up a penalty. And your right tackle, Clark, he was struggling on the day. He already had 2 holding penalties. He could have picked up another one. All of a sudden now, Jags decline it. Now it's 3rd down with 1 minute left in the game. And now you got a punt with 20 seconds left in the game. Dodo. Anyway, Jags second half dislikes. Allen Hurns Open for a deep ball. Blake B misses him. Again, this is why this is why he isn't a good quarterback in this league. You get opportunities to hit the ball deep. You got to hit. That's a touchdown. He's open behind the defense by 2.5 yards. That's a touchdown. He missed him. Big punt return by Tyler Irvin. You can't give that up. I just told you when I was talking about and referencing the Lamar Miller run in the first half, you can't give up big plays. The Texans are struggling offensively. Struggling. Don't help them. No big plays. 2 of their 3 touchdowns in this game came off. Hell, all 3 of them came off of big plays. I might as well add. Defense scored on a pick 6, 42 yards. The big run by Lamar Miller, 45 yards, set up the 1-yard touchdown pass. And then the Tyler Irvin punt return put them deep into Jags territory, and they were able to get in the end zone then. Don't do it. They don't score without your help in this game, but you helped. You were too friendly. You were too generous. Stop helping them. Marquise Lee dropped the deep ball. I'd love to see Blake put that out in front of him a little bit more so he doesn't have to stop. Let him run under it and score. But, okay, so it's slightly underthrown and over the wrong shoulder. Make the adjustment. Go up and get the football. He didn't. He allowed the defender to knock it away. Got to make plays, guys. You want to win games. You want to stop being a laughingstock of the league along with the Cleveland Browns. Make a play. Make a play. Giving up the last first down to D-Hop. You got all the momentum. The crowd is back into it. This is an improbable comeback scenario set up for you. All you got to do is get a stop. You'll have 1 timeout left. You'll have 2 minutes and some change left on the clock, and you can't get the stop. You allow D-Hop to catch it. The 2-minute warning hits. They run one more play, and then you're out of timeouts. This game's over. That's a huge turn of events. Get the stop. It's a big-time miss by the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. So that's going to do it for this game. Let's jump into some of your comments here. Enrique Valencia says, will the Jags draft the QB in this year's draft? Blake is to the point where he is beyond repair. I don't know. I don't know what their thought process is there. I think Blake Bortles is going to get another opportunity with a new head coach because, as we all know, Gus Bradley's not going to remain their head coach in the offseason. He will be fired. That's a foregone conclusion. And so I think the next coach is going to be an offensive-minded head coach, and they're going to ask him to come in. And they're going to ask him to work with Blake Bortles for 1 year. And if Blake isn't his guy and he doesn't think he can fix him, then they're going to move on. And I think you'll see them maybe draft the quarterback the year after that. But I'm telling you, if they find a guy that they like now, they're gonna move on that guy. If they're sitting with the number 2 pick in the draft, let's just say that they finished this season up 3-13, and that's good enough for the second. Let's call that good enough for the 3rd pick in the draft because I think the 49ers are going to be pretty bad, and I don't see them winning more than 2 games this season. Let's just assume that the Jags are 3rd in the draft. If they got a chance to take a quarterback there, let's just say that Notre Dame quarterback is sitting right there for them at that pick, and they really love him. They think the world of this guy, smart, high character. They're really in love with his intangibles. He can throw the football. Let's just say that they feel like he's the guy. Maybe they move on him. It's possible. But if they don't feel like these quarterbacks are up to par with what they are looking for, then maybe they decide, we're going to pass on the quarterback position yet again, and we'll come back and tackle that again next year maybe. But this is the thing. You don't want to be in a position to draft a quarterback next season. So if you got an opportunity to take a quarterback this year, I think this is the time to do it because your plan should be we don't want to be in the top 10 next year. We want to be better than that. And in order to draft a quarterback that's worth anything for the most part in this league, you need to be in the top 10. So if I'm the Jags and I get an opportunity to take a Deshaun Watson, to take one of these guys in this draft, maybe you do so. Maybe you do so. We'll see. Mondraw says, with every week that goes by, I keep thinking that Bortles is keeping this team hostage. They're just not very good, but they would be so much better if they had a more competent play at the quarterback position. That's for sure. But I don't want to say he's keeping his team hostage because they don't do enough to win. They make too many mistakes. They don't do enough to win, but he's a huge part of why they don't win. So you could argue that, yes, he is, in fact, holding his team hostage, but we'll see. Enrique Valencia says, this game was between 2 awful QBs. I can't deny that. The quarterbacking in this game was hard to watch. It was Medusa. Hard to watch, no doubt. Jonathan Adams says, I feel the Texans are a surprising team, and they have Hopkins and Fuller are good for their pass game. Well, I haven't seen Fuller in ages. I don't even know who that guy is anymore, but Hopkins is still good. It's a shame that his numbers are going to decrease exponentially this year because of how bad their quarterback position has been with Brock Osweiler. And some of that goes on the coaching staff. They're horrible. This coaching staff is a train wreck right now. They're just clueless. They don't know what the hell is going on right now in Houston. Blue Rain says, who's worse, the Browns or the Jags? The Browns, because they're not going to win a game this season. So it's obviously the Browns. Jags, at least they've already won 2 games, and they may win another at some point. Enrique Valencia says, Houston running backs the past 3 weeks, 4.5 yards a carry. Brock Osweiler, 4.2 yards per passing attempt. Texas might be looking for a quarterback. Like I said, it's year 1 of Brock, so I'm not going to give up on him after a year. Like I said, they haven't done anything to help him out. I don't like their passing game. I don't like their offense. I don't like the way they attack teams. This is not all on Blake, or not Blake, Brock Osweiler. But I tell you what, man, he's been bad. No doubt about that. But critical play in this game. He needed to make a throw. He made a throw to help his team win. Rudy Art Pugh says, Caldwell has to go, right? Fowler, Bortles, Jokel, all bust. Fowler is an idiot. I told you, low football IQ, low football acumen. He makes a dumb play, it seems like every week. Bortles, yeah, and Jokel, yeah. Those two are, I think, draft busts. Yeah, I would be ready to go on record as saying that those two definitely weren't what you signed up for when you made those guys your picks in the top 5 of the draft in those respective seasons. And Dave is done. There's no. You're talking about your general manager, Dave Caldwell. I don't know. He may get another shot. Sheik Khan is extremely loyal to his guys. I think Caldwell will. And look, this team isn't chocked full of bums. This team is talented. So I don't know if Dave Caldwell is to blame for everything that's going on. But when you miss on a quarterback, it really looks bad on the general manager. So we'll see what happens. But I think he's done a really good job of building his team. In terms of talent, they've got talent everywhere. Now it's all about finding that quarterback to make this thing go. I think you need to upgrade at running back, though. If you don't draft the quarterback, the first position I take a look at is running back because you need a game changer there as well. Brian Emerson says, did you get my tweets about the chat? I'm probably not going to take you up on it. I'm not one to make bets on games or anything like that. That's not my thing. So I doubt I'll take you up on any of those challenges. But yes, I did see your tweets. Brock Osweiler is the truth. Brian Ma says he's being funny. I'm not giving up on B.O. I already told y'all that. But it's tough. Watching him go out and throw for 99 yards, it's tough. Rudy R. Pugh says, Caldwell being retained and forcing Bortles on the new head coach makes the job less desirable. Like I said, I don't think that Caldwell has done that bad of a job, but forcing Bortles on a new head coach isn't ideal. I will admit that. I mean, you would like to just start with a blank canvas, and because the talent on this team isn't that bad. That's why I feel like Caldwell doesn't have to go necessarily, but if I'm a new head coach, I would like to have some input on the groceries that are being picked, especially at the quarterback position, especially if I'm an offensive-minded head coach coming in here, coaching up this squad. I'd love to have an opportunity to pick my own quarterback that would fit my system a little bit better because Blake Bortles just isn't that guy. Brian Moss says, just give him some time. I feel the same way. I don't know if you're joking or not, but I'm serious about that. I think Blake Bortles just needs some time. Give him some time. 1 year in an offense, and these coaches are clueless. Maybe they'll figure some things out this offseason, get to some of his strengths, and maybe they'll be better next year. Rudy R. Pugh says, found some talent in the mid-rounds, but missed on the foundational pieces and hired the worst head coach of all time. That's all true. I can't deny that. But to me, where you really build your roster is in those mid-rounds. And he's done a phenomenal job of that. That like you build your team on those mid-round, late-round draft choices and even undrafted guys. And he's had hits over and over and over again in the mid-rounds. Now, the question is, like you said, those foundational pieces, the guys that are supposed to be your core guys that are supposed to be your first and second round picks, he hasn't had as much success there. And so that's the area where he has to be better. But it is what it is. I understand your frustration. I'm not going to sit here and try to talk you out of getting rid of Caldwell. I just think he's done a good enough job to retain his job and for his services to be retained in Jacksonville to have a shot. with the next head coach. I think he's done well enough to not have to be dismissed along with Gus Bradley. But Gus Bradley statistically is one of the worst head coaches of all time. So absolutely no arguments with you there. T. Little says, how far are the Texans going to go? Pretty much where they went last year. Probably lose in the first round, depending on who that opponent is. They'll get a home playoff game because they'll win the division. And they'll probably be up against a really good 6th seed that'll come in and steamroll them. Probably the last team to get in the AFC West, whether it's the Chiefs, Raiders, or Broncos. They'll probably go into Houston and stomp a mud hole in them, and they'll go home and they'll have to retool and figure some things out. So we'll see what happens there. But Rashard Hunt says, Titans will edge out the Texans for the playoff. Definitely possible. Yeah, it's possible, but I don't see it happening. I think the Titans still have a little ways to go, but they're a confident football team. But I don't see them doing enough to win this division. We'll see what happens, though. A lot of football left to be played. That is for certain. But in any event, it's going to do it for this breakdown. Let's check Twitter real quick. See if I got any comments there from you all. And if I don't, then we'll move on. All right. Nope. I don't have any comments there. I appreciate that, Rain. I'm going to go ahead and retweet that out if you don't mind. And I'm also going to check my notifications and make sure that no one mentioned me in Louie Tee Live. And no one did, so we will skedaddle, man. That's going to do it for Jags and Texans in week number 10 in the National Football League. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here on Lockdown Coverage. Remember, we're changing the game one live feed at a time. I got plenty more games to break down in week number 10 in the National Football League. I'm your man, Louie T, signing off. I will see you shortly, Bears and Bucks, in another ass whooping so you know what's coming. I'll see you a little bit later on. Have a good one.